Live from CMPX 2026 in Toronto, Ontario at the Metro Convention Center. I'm here with Matthew Reed.
Hello, friends, and I'm here with Adam Hedden. And together, we are here with a very special friend of ours. So I've known this gentleman for a very, very long time. He's a dear friend of mine. We've shared some wonderful times. We've shared some sober times. And we've shared a couple not so sober times
I would think so.
once or twice. So this is my friend Jeff Hedden. Why don't you take a minute, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you work, where you come from, little introduction.
Good. Thank you guys for having me on today. I've been in the industry for just over 45 years. I've worked for All Temp, where I am now, for just about 27 years now. It's been an awesome place to work. I started in the industry working, shipping, receiving, and worked my way up through the different distribution locations and that. Now I'm on the rep side more so.
Yeah, you are a wealth of knowledge and fascination to me. Hey, I got to know, you've been doing this for 45 years, meaning that you've been doing this about a year longer than I've been alive. Which is it's an endearing comment. I want to make that very, very clear that he's got like I said, a wealth of knowledge and experience. In the 40 plus years that you've been doing it, I can't believe that because you don't look a day over 36, but science, I guess. What is the, in your opinion, since you've started the industry, what's been the biggest change to come across your desk in the last 40 some odd years?
I would have to say the refrigerant changes. The way that they're going from what we had hydrofluorocarbons to start with. Then we went into propane. They were supposed to do some other stuff with natural refrigerants. And now they've gone to A2L refrigerant.
So when I started, it was R22. What was it when you hopped in?
When I started, we had R12, R22, and R502.
R502, okay.
Were the three. So you had refrigeration, air conditioning, and low temp.
Oh, interesting.
That's all you had to worry about was those three refrigerants.
So which one was landed in the refrigeration world?
12.
12, okay.
Yep, and 502 for your low temp stuff.
Okay, interesting. Again, all I have really experience with here on my end is the 22, and that came with the 10 SEER units.
Originally, yes.
Originally, right? Yeah. And that kind of takes me back. And then remember when it went away, and they brought out the R410A because it was get a load of this team, near mesotropic blend. How'd I do?
And it had also, that most people don't know, it is actually an A2L.
R410A is, yeah.
Yes, because it's made with R32.
Love that.
Right.
Love that.
It's all high pressure. You look at the new stuff, 454 that's out there now.
Yep.
It's very
454,
close.
yeah.
It's very close to the 410. So that, I know in the U.S. when there was a problem getting that product, the 454, people were putting 410 in the units.
Really? Okay,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
So it was interesting.
Were they, and so there's overlap between how those two units will operate?
Well, no.
Or not units,
because-
those refrigerants, yeah.
Yeah, they operate. They have similar characteristics of them.
Yep.
But the applications are a little bit different for your temperature, comfort cooling, that type of stuff. It makes a big difference that way. So
Okay.
I've got a question here for anyone that's still wondering. This is my father, so this interview is special for me.
That's why I'm sitting in the middle.
It's why I've been in the industry for 21 years, is because I grew up in the industry. So you've been attending the CMPX show as long as I can remember when I was a kid. How long has it been?
geez, well, my first one I think was in 1982. Would have
Wow.
been my first CMX, and it wasn't
Long
CMX
before I
then.
was born.
It was CEX. It was called the SEX show back then.
Mm-hmm.
Canadian Electrical Exhibition.
And in that time, what would you say? There's two parts to this question. What
There's
would
a
you
lot
say
of parts to this question.
your
Be very
most-
careful.
Your most memorable time was at a CMPX show
That
during
we,
the show.
that we can say on
during the-
camera.
okay.
That we can say on camera.
I don't know. It's just seeing everybody and getting together. You know, every 2 years we do this show, which is perfect, I find, because it doesn't give you ashtrays done every year. You don't get time to develop a product or make a new product or any of that type of stuff. So with this being every 2 years, it gives you a chance to be able to do some of that stuff. And you can tell walking through the show these days, the technology has just changed from a little mechanical pressure control that you'd go on a job site and see a screwdriver stuck in it to hold it at the right pressure.
Yep.
And now they can nail it into with a 1% of what they need. So the technology is unbelievable the way stuff's going. Everything seems to be getting smaller, which is because of the electronics and that type of stuff. You'll find with the electronics, it took a while to get used to that because electronics don't like water. So you get in refrigeration, you're in an evaporator, you got water, that type of stuff, and electronics don't work real well. So
Right.
there is still a lot of applications.
Second part of that question is, what do you think the importance is of people attending CMPX? How important is this show to our industry, to new people coming into the industry, and to the existing people that have been in the industry for an amount of time?
That's a good question. Like, I think you find that if you miss shows like this, you aren't keeping up to date on the products that
Absolutely.
are out there. There's so much new stuff to be able to go around and see between, whether it's parts or equipment or whatever. It just makes sense to be here, especially as a contractor. You go to a wholesale house, they can't talk to you about everything they have in that wholesale house.
Right.
You come to a show like this, you get to walk around, you see the manufacturer, you get to talk to the actual guys about that product and where you can purchase it from. So
Yep.
it's very important that way, I think. I know a lot of people think trade shows are going by the wayside, but believe me, the number of years I've been coming here, and you just see more people and more people all the time. So I'm not sure how they're going away, but
100% agree with that. And the relationships that we're able to build and foster at these events. For example, when my first CMPX that I ever did was 12 years ago. That's how old I am, and kind of dating myself with that one. I remember kind of coming to this when I was with a company that sold Amana furnaces and Renai tankless water heaters. And at the time, tankless water heaters were a very divisive subject. So some people come in and they'd be mad at you. Some people come in and they'd be happy with you. But at the end of the day, if you don't get to know your rep and your products and your vendors, you don't build those relationships, and you don't really get to dive into the new innovations that are coming
definitely.
into the
Yeah.
industry.
we're such creatures of habit that if we don't feel comfortable with something, we're not going to talk about it.
Absolutely.
So, you get to shows like this, you get more comfortable with the product, you get to learn a little more about it. They got a lot of training sessions going on, a lot of really good information and those things. So these shows are very important.
So in the last, let's say, because the industry really took a big change for us. Let's say in the last 4 to 6 years, when you walk the show now and we see heat pumps everywhere and we see tankless water heaters everywhere, in your opinion, over the last, even say decade, what kind of is, in your opinion, one of the most important innovations that the industry has given to us or we've come out with?
That's funny, you mentioned heat pumps, and the technology that we originally had with heat pumps was terrible. It wouldn't work in minus temperatures. There's all kinds of stuff that made a problem with it. What's really nice now is they have come up with the technology that, most of these units will run down to minus 35 now.
Yeah.
So it's,
Yep.
that technology and just the way they're carrying on that type of stuff has really made a big difference in the industry.
Yeah, and so with that heat pumps, and now we have the introduction of the A2L refrigerants, which I want to dive into A2L here in just a moment. But first, I want to talk about natural gas real quickly. A2L refrigerants, everyone's afraid of them because they are combustible. We're terrified of that one. So we got to make these leak detectors in all of our heat pumps and whatnot. Yet, you think we have any sort of like gas detection, leak detectors on any of our gas-fired pieces of equipment? No, absolutely.
Not many.
It's unheard of if it's not, on the very rare considerations of that. So with regards to that, and people again terrified of A2L because they think it's going to, ignite just from a spark 10,000 feet away, what should contractors, in your opinion, know about A2L refrigerants?
They're all scared of it. They see another transition to a new refrigerant. Everybody's got this A2Ls, it's flammable, explosive. It's not any. We've done tests that we've had it coming out of a system, tried to light it. It will not sustain a flame. As soon as the pressure hits it, it's gone. So everybody, we've went through these phases a couple of times now, from the R12, 22, 502 to 410s and blends. And now we're going to A2Ls. Well, we've done these transitions before, so it's nothing new.
Yeah.
You know, we've always done it. It's just now the government and the powers to be are scaring the heck out of
I
everybody
100% agree with that.
by saying that, you know, you got one of these things in your house, it could potentially blow up.
Yeah.
Well, that's not really the reality of it. So I think they're, with A2Ls, they've gone a little overboard, you know, and once the 454, the patents come off it, so everybody in the world will have it now. 32 is probably going to be phased out in the next 5 years
Yeah.
because of the potential of it. So,
Yeah.
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 You guys live here?
We are.
Yeah, it's okay. Our producer's here, and he is fantastic with the edit button.
So over 40 years in the industry, and I just remember back to growing up in the industry, and we would take trips on my summer vacations, and I'd go on calls with you on the road and different things like that. And that's kind of what's brought me to where I am in my career now. And after 21 years in the industry myself, I know what keeps me passionate every day. But after 40 years, what keeps you passionate to keep doing the same thing every day?
I love meeting people and talking to people. It's, you know, something that has really helped me in business and how I've done things. So getting out and meeting people, and I don't know, I just really enjoy it. I like traveling around. I've got to see a lot of the country since I worked for Alltemp. And as you said, I've been able to take Adam or my daughter around on sales trips with me out to the East Coast or wherever. So it's been very interesting that way. And it's always, to me, every day is something new in this business.
Totally.
You never
Yeah.
know what you're going to run up against. You know, they could change all the laws tomorrow and we'd start all over. But that's what's the interesting part about it. You know, it's something new all the time.
Absolutely. The innovation, we talked about, you know, the innovations of the industry and how things are progressing and moving forward with different refrigerants and heat pump technology and things like that. And on the tools side, which you guys are big in with your product line with Hillmore, what tools should every tech have in their toolbox, in their bag, for everyday use? Or what's something that's like a go-to?
For an HVAC guy, you always got to have a good manifold, a clean, good manifold. You should have a good vacuum pump, something that, and people get the misconception that bigger is faster with vacuum pumps. That's not true. Okay, so they're rated 7 times 7. So you got a 7 CFM pump times 7. It's going to be good for 49 tons. So, and that's sort of the way you rate
Is that
them.
how that works?
Yeah.
25 years I've been doing this. I had no idea.
We just changed all the motors on our JB pumps to DC. With the AC side of things, they were started up full. There was a potential for spark, that type of stuff. With the DC motors, they start down real low RPM and build up.
Yeah.
So there's no chance of a spark or any of that type of stuff. So, you know, your basic tools, everyday tools, that's probably the two things I would think in the HVAC side. You have to have
use all the time.
you would use every day basically on an install or a repair, or you need to have a good set of gauges.
Good set of gauges, good pump. I've worked with a couple folks over the years that will take a pump, try to do a job. They have, you know, 200 foot of line set or something like that. They try to pull a vacuum. And then, of course, they don't leave it long enough, so there's a little bit of non-condensables left in the lines. And so when they release that vacuum, the pressure starts to creep back in. And they're like, oh, that's normal. That's supposed to happen. I'm like, oh, that's absolutely not supposed to happen. But, you know, from that point, you know, this was just a young guy kind of starting out. And to that point, if you were to give one nugget, and I'm sure that you were chock full of them, but one little tip to someone kind of coming in and joining the industry, a new person, a student, someone getting into the trades, one little bit of advice, what could you throw them?
I would think know your field, know what you're getting into. You know, whether you're going into the HVAC or the plumbing or hydronic, whichever way you're going to go, do some research on it. Find out about it. There's so many people that get in this industry and they're like, this isn't for me. You know, I don't want to be stuck on a rooftop in the middle of the winter or stuff like that. So
Great
you
point.
know, you gotta know what you're getting into, and that's, I'm afraid, so many people out there are jumping at, oh, I'm going to be in the HVAC. Well, that might not really be your job. So
You know, I could probably answer that question for him because obviously I've got the advice over the years as well. And so when I was starting in the industry, one thing that I remember vividly was that, like, if you're going to get into the industry, get into the industry. Like, get involved with the organizations, and learn as much as you can. Never stop asking questions. There's no dumb questions. Ask as much as you can.
Yeah.
And lean on people in different positions and with different experience to learn as much as you can. And that's how I've built my career. I mean, I've learned, tried to take a little piece from each person that I've come across in my career, whether it's through training or whether it's through joint sales calls or whatever it may have been. That was the advice I got, and that's what has built my career to where it is today. So
I've stolen
learn as
every
much as
single
you can.
sales tip from you. Everything that I know about selling, I stole from you, which
And I
clearly you stole from him.
So, I got two questions. If you had to pick one, you can't answer this because I already know your answer. Boiler or heat pump?
I would have to go with the boiler.
He's right.
And
Dude.
and Matthew's a friend for life now.
Knew I liked you. We're good.
But is there a reason?
Again, it falls back to the technology. Boilers have been around forever,
Yes.
and they've always worked. They've always done what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Heat pumps have went through a lot of trial and error, and they still do. They're still going through seasons that, you know, the cooling isn't working or the heating isn't working or whatever, and they're out to
Absolutely.
lunch.
I was talking to someone here at the show today, and in one of the booths I was working in earlier, and he came up to me. He just said, "You know what? My heat pump isn't keeping up. My heat pump is not keeping up this winter. I had to find other ways of heating my space because the heat pump just isn't cutting it." So there's definitely a concern about that when we get into the cold weather and the winters like we've had. But yeah, I would agree as well. I think we have a 3 for 3 here with boiler over heat pump. And the last question is, and I've had a few people ask me about this and ask, this isn't our stuff that we sent you before that we wanted to talk about, but
Here you go.
not to put you on the spot here, but I've had a few people tell me to ask you this. Can you tell us anything about All Temps Hospitality Suites at the show? I know Matthew and I have experienced it a few times, but
Yeah, we try to have a good time at our hospitality suite. Over the years, we've had some exciting ones till 5 in the morning type thing, and then showed up the next day at the booth. Over the years, we've got to be known as the Hospitality Kings. In our booth this year, we actually have a bar all set up at Richard's Tavern. So the vice president of the company, we have graciously put his name up there and pictures of him so they know who to blame. But yeah, we have had a good time, and that's part of the show too, you know, getting together with your customers and that type of stuff, and they appreciate it. They appreciate a good time. But so it's, over the years, I've learned to calm down a little bit.
Pace yourself.
this show obviously proves to be like a stepping stone in your career and how you grew in the industry and your career evolved. And I would say it's done the same for me. But every time I do a training, every time Matthew does a training, and all the people that I've trained, there's a part of what you've taught because it's come through me, come through Matthew, and you've left a big imprint on the industry. And you continue to do it each day. So we want to thank you for coming on
Thanks, guys. No,
on the podcast today.
Hopefully that was informational.
And you are our first ever guest on the show.
Wow.
Yeah, you know, it's. I'm not saying that our producer Kyle's going to make you a plaque, but he's probably going to make you a plaque. I'm not trying to put him on the spot or nothing.
He's about ready to tee up for his free haircut.
Oh yes, please. I know you've been doing this for, so you say, 44 years, though I don't believe that you're that old, but I sincerely wish that you would stick with us for another 44. It would mean the world to us because there's a tremendous amount of knowledge that you bring, and I can't thank you enough for everything you've given to myself and give it to Adam to give to me over the
that's
years.
great, guys.
You mean the
Thank you.
world to me. Thank you.
Thank you. No, it was very interesting. Like I said, stick with the HVAC. You know, people are always going to need cooling and refrigeration, so there's always a need out there for it.
And stick with HVAC because plumbers bite their nails, and that's gross.